Come on, join me in this dance. All right. What's going on, everybody? My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. Unapologetic liberal talk on the right side of history, decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. And we are here every Tuesday. The show is also available on Fridays. This is our Political Voices live stream every Tuesday at 2 p.m. All right, guys. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News. Thank you, patrons. Please subscribe to my Substack and all that. And yeah, we don't have a lot of time on Tuesdays. Let's keep the show going and growing because we have a lot of work to do. And I don't know about you, but it is exhausting. And where do we begin? That we know the answer now that Trump was right when he said that he could shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue and he wouldn't lose a single supporter. That is true. And there's really no bottom to the maggot sewer if what we're witnessing is any testament to that. They will excuse the fact that he's a rapist. We know that. He's been adjudicated as a rapist. Other women have, not just E. Jean Carroll, who is an amazing American patriot, but other women have come forward and talked about the fact that he's a sexual abuser. We know that's the truth. There's testimony under oath from victims of Traitor Trump when he was in his sharing wonderful secrets with a convicted pedophile. When he was in that stage of his life, there's a sworn testimony of a victim who describes how she and another girl, who were 13 and 14 respectively at the time, were given to Traitor Trump as a gift from Jeffrey Epstein, as a birthday gift. And he proceeded to sexually assault both of them. And then when the actual act of rape was done, he slapped one of them across the face. He's just a real champion, a real man of the people. Here, if your people are pedophiles and scum, yes, that's your man of the people. There's no redeeming qualities to this, and we have to ask ourselves that as far as the supporters, what's wrong with you, right? What's wrong with the maggots? And we have to really, I think, blame them at this point, because Trump is what he is. He is a pedophile. He's a convicted felon. He's his own family member, Mary Trump, describes him as being someone devoid of any redeeming qualities. We could see that with our own eyes. There's not a single story of him in his whole 80 wasted, useless years on the planet of him being anything but a deplorable, self-serving, malignant narcissist. So if you were a man of the people, you would think that there's there might be one story about it to back up your claim. Instead, we have him using lawfare, for example, to stiff contractors and always leaving others holding the bag, going after tenants who are in rent-controlled apartments in the buildings that he unfortunately got his filthy clutches on. And then he would engage in a systematic campaign of abuse against older American Social Security recipients, people who didn't have the means to fight back. And that's one of the common denominators with all of the maggots. Every maggot, from the Oval Office to Mike Johnson's office and everyone in between, they all are bullies who pick on people who can't fight back. That's really it. They're the classic cowards, which is why we're enduring what we have to endure, which is why this monster is putting his name on everything. And every time I mean, I hate to be right, right? And I mean, figuratively and literally, it sucks to be right. I hate the fact that I've been correct about these people for years, and that they don't like America, that they have no interest in a multiracial liberal democracy that works for more than just the 1%, that if we went back in time, they would be the loyalists begging King George to trickle on them. They're the ones, that's why it just upsets me when I see maggots and all of their patriotic accoutrements. They have no interest in patriotism except being, except the symbols of patriotism. They like the symbols because the substance is over their heads. And yes, on the chat, Mida 2202. I'm not sure how you pronounce your name there, but yes, stolen valor. That's one thing. I just saw this picture of Traitor Trump, and you guys know, it drives me up a wall when I see him giving a salute, right? And because it's stolen valor. This is another thing that the Democrats have failed us on. We all complain about the Democrats having shitty messaging, not being good at messaging. Well, I'm trying. I'm trying to give them the support. Just repeat after me. That the Republicans not only hate America, they're confused by America. And when they see Traitor Trump giving that salute, it just goes to show you how lost we have gotten in this maggot hellhole. Because the presidency is not a military role. The presidency is a civilian role. And for the president to salute, it's not appropriate. Civilians don't salute. And as somebody who served, I actually, unlike every single Trump in their entire lineage, I actually wore the uniform of this country. And there's standards. Even if you're serving if you're on active duty, but you're not in uniform, you don't salute. So who is he to salute? And then to see that picture, I didn't expect to talk about it, so I don't have it handy. Let me see. There's a picture of J.D. Vance and Traitor Trump saluting. So no one will point out, I don't hear it on the corporate media, that, the president should not be saluting since he's not a member of the military. He might be the commander-in-chief, but you don't salute. And we've played videos in the past of Ronald Reagan, for example, bestowing the Medal of Honor on a service member, and the service member gives a salute, and Reagan returns the honorific with his hand over his heart. And that's what you should do as a civilian. Even Eisenhower, when he was the president, didn't salute, even though he had been the supreme Allied commander of the entire forces of all of, during World War II. He didn't salute because he understood the role of the presidency and how important it is for the president not to be a member of the military. This isn't we're not a goddamn military dictatorship yet, but that kind of behavior gets us a little bit closer to it. And this is why they blur the lines between the separation of church and state and the separation of the military from the commander-in-chief, right? The military, I mean, it's just so to see. Let me see if I can find this picture. Not that you need an illustration. You've probably seen it. J.D. Vance and Trump standing there. It's this low angle shot. There it is. Oh, how dare you both. They all do it. He does it. He does. There's more than one. Oh, fuck you. Oh, my God. Sorry to curse so early in the afternoon. And, oh, my God. I just have to show you what I'm looking at so you can share. My disgust. Yeah. While I'm fumbling around on the buttons. You can subscribe to my Substack. That helps keep the show going and growing, and it helps keep the Political Voices Network going and growing. All right, because we're in this together, and we don't have big billionaire benefactors. We have each other. And as you know, it ain't easy. It's not easy out there, kids. Okay, here we go. Come on, Ecamm. Where is it? Okay, there it is. Look at this shit. Who is J.D. Vance to salute? He's not the commander-in-chief. What is he, commander-in-chief junior? He's a frickin' vice president. How dare you? How dare you steal valor like this? But no one points it out. No one on the corporate media points it out. Why? I know. Oh, yeah, it's a fire hose of fascism. So we don't talk about things. We let them get away with the slippery slope. And that's the thing with Republicans. My entire life, I've always had to. Anytime we try to make a more perfect union, we get a little bit closer to expanding the franchise of democracy, or making a little bit of room for more people at the table, right? To let them pull up a seat. I have to hear about how the slippery slope. There's always in the conservatives, the slippery slope from if people of the same PP get to form a legal marriage contract, then we're on the slippery slope to marrying your pets, right? It's always a slippery slope somehow if you're trying to be good and decent. Or now it's, I guess, because we're not complete monsters and we understand that gender, that your gender identity is in your brain, not in your pee-pee. Maggots are rolling us back to, it's transgender for everyone now, right? It's not just for those who want it or need it. It's for everybody. Everybody has. You just drop off your kid, and then you drop off Johnny, and you pick up Janie, and you didn't even sign a permission slip. I mean, I couldn't go to the Turtleback goddamn zoo when I was in the 8th grade because I didn't have a permission slip. But now apparently you can get an entire gender surgery. But according to maggots, this is how you have to, in order to be a maggot, you have to believe in fantastical worlds that don't exist. And they live in a very scary world too. That's the other thing. And America, freedom, decency, dignity, democracy, all of these concepts are above them, are well over their heads. That's why they like the symbols. And so I don't know about you, but this really annoys me. Look at him saluting. Who the fuck are you? How dare you? So the vice president doesn't return a salute. That's not what, that's a good thing. You're not supposed to do that. You're not a member of the military. You never served. You can't say you're the commander-in-chief. You're not, you don't deserve it. You're stolen valor. Another line that's blurred between the executive and the military, which brings us one step closer to fascism. I don't know. I've never heard it. I've never heard anyone on the corporate media point this out. So why not? They'll just keep doing it. And I know the Democratic presidents did it too. That doesn't mean it's right. It's, it just shows us how far we've fallen. But it is really because the Republicans they've done this to us deliberately to drag us closer and closer to an authoritarian state. It really is the truth. So, yeah. And then, of course, yes, as Ed on the chat says, Trump saluted North Korean soldiers. Unreal, right? But I mean, think about it. Look at him. How J.D. Vance can do that and think, and look at himself in the mirror. But then it's the entire MAGA cult. When I look at what they do, and I say, how do they look at themselves in the mirror? Don't they have any dignity? Don't they have any decency? But of course not. It's so true. As Gary on the chat says, legacy media never reports negatively about Taco Epstein. Never. But this is an easy one. But I have yet to hear anyone bring it up. I don't know. It's like some of the things that I talk about on this show is like the stolen valor salutes and the Democrat Party thing. Like, I don't ever hear anybody else talking about them. So I wonder to myself, and I wonder out loud here, is this not a big deal? I don't think so, though. To me, it is a big deal. It's yet another sign of how far we've fallen, how much closer we've gotten to the destruction of the system that the founders fought a revolution to create and entrust to us. Right? Yeah, you don't have to salute when if you're a civilian and sometimes you'll encounter as well for example, in New York, they have a recruitment station right in the middle of Times Square. Sometimes you'll see people taking the oath to join the military. They'll have like a little ceremony out there, and there'll be some saluting involved. You don't see the civilians standing around saluting, and they're not saluting you, J.D. Vance, so you don't have to salute them back. They're saluting the office, supposedly. They're saluting the office that you hold. You're supposed to hold it with decency and dignity and respect, but all you have to do is put your hand over your heart and move it on. But they don't understand, and this is something that they made a big deal out of back in when Obama was president. When he saluted, he had a coffee cup in his hand. He shouldn't have been saluting anyway. But then this is what the Republicans have done to us. They whittle away at the pillars of democracy until there's no institutional memory at all. And this is just normal, that the president, even though the president is the commander-in-chief, the American people think this is normal because, that must mean he's the ultimate soldier, right? No, it doesn't. And especially the vice president. It's we've gotten away from the fact that they don't teach civics anymore in school. So why wouldn't we get away from the truth? The American people are confused. There's a lot of confusion in this country about what this thing is supposed to be, what this system is supposed to be, clearly. And if you can't agree on it, then of course it's going to break down, especially when the Republicans have made it their mission to break us apart. Make no mistake, that's what we're up to. And because they don't like democracy, they never did. And so, okay, right before Traitor Trump, right before I came on air here, you might have seen it. Where is it? Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Yeah. Hold on. Where's my EKM? How's everybody doing, by the way? How's everybody? Say it with me. Happy Merry Christmas. Oh, thank God we can say Merry Christmas again. Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays. You see, even that. I wrote an article at the Political Voices Substack and I hope you're a subscriber to my Substack. Otherwise, I'll be very disappointed. And it was about how, now first, what's his name? Road rules guy, Sean Duffy, made a video about how, are you dressing nice in the airport? Like, go, don't, they undid everything that Biden did to make your travel experience more humane, and where travelers would have to be compensated from the airlines if they had flight delays that were the fault of the airlines. Oh, they did away with all that shit, and they put in a pull-up bar, but and they started lecturing everybody, are you dressing for success, or dressing for respect? Dress for respect in the airport, as if we're 2-year-olds, right? As they cram us into tighter and tighter seats for more and more money, they want you to put on a business suit. But which is yet another example of Republicans doing nothing for this country except dividing us, because now they've just exacerbated yet another fissure of disunity. See, if you don't have a fissure of disunity, then Republicans will create one. And now I guess we have the casual dressers as opposed to the business attire dressers. And now this has become a bone of contention in the airport. You just can't go and travel in peace. It's a political statement now, whether you're in pajamas, or team business attire. And it goes to show you that what do Republicans have? What do they have to offer this country except division, except chaos, except cruelty? So on this week of Christmas, what did Traitor Trump tell everybody? Well, he's building his ballroom. I think it's up to $400 million, which could pay for school lunches for every kid in the country. But who needs to feed the huddled masses? If you don't have food, that makes you a little bit more desperate, and that makes you a little bit more compliant and easily played and all that. It makes you nice and malleable. But while Traitor Trump is renaming everything after himself, which and this is an article I have to write. I'm gonna write it. I keep threatening it, but it's been a crazy week. That he can name himself. He can name things after himself that he, to his heart's content. But it's all gonna come down in the the damnatia memoriae, the damnation of memory, that we will enact as soon as his clutches are off the neck of power. But tonight, just like, CBS, I'm sure you've heard, proves they've proved definitively that they are a propaganda arm of the Republican Party, that forget the days of Edward R. Murrow are well in the rear view mirror at this point, unfortunately. They have, they cut a story that 60 Minutes was going to do. And now Traitor Trump is he posted, a friend of mine, Andrea, who works for Hal Sparks and also helps out with this show. She's going to be helping us get guests and whatnot. But we were talking about this earlier, and as I was on the phone with her early, we were just talking, happy holidays and all that. And I couldn't believe it. She's like, oh my God, that this post that Trump posted on his Tripe social, that he's gonna host the Kennedy Center Honors tonight, which basically puts a nail in the coffin of CBS. If you have any doubts that they are a lost cause, that CBS is, disgracefully an arm of the Republican Party now, and how much that we should all be alarmed by this, by the fact that he's taking over media now, because this is how we're in this boat to begin with. We're on the slippery, very slippery slope to fascism because of propaganda. Make no mistake, it is directly related to the fact that we have half the country listening to news outlets funded by the Kremlin that make its viewers less informed than those who watch no news at all, that had to pay or was hit with the largest judgment against a media company for lying to its viewers. And I'm talking about Fox News. And the funded by the Kremlin are the influencers. So you have the big network outlets that are dedicated to destroying democracy, to kiss up, kick down, I got mine, sucks to be you system that the Republicans are in allegiance to. And then you have the right-wing influencers that take money from the Kremlin to spread this kiss up, kick down division and lies. And CBS, one of the big three networks, are now part of that arm. They're part of the Republican Party. And it's pretty alarming, and we should all be very alarmed about it. I don't know. I'm trying to find another word. Alarming is coming to mind, because this is all a result of the Telecommunications Act. And when we get our country back, if there will be a blue wave in the next midterms, if they don't, I guess, steal it, like Traitor Trump tried to steal it from Joe Biden and not just Joe Biden, he tried to steal it from us, from the American people. That says it all. They don't have any allegiance to democracy, much less decency. So if we get this country back, there has to be a reckoning for everything that's gone wrong. Every pillar of democracy that they've destroyed has to be rebuilt and shored up so that another fascist wannabe dictator never gets power again. And it includes the media, a re-regulation of the media, a re-regulation of education, of all of the pillars of democracy that make people, good citizens and not maggots trying to destroy everything. And that's what's so sad, too, because they destroy themselves. These are all over. There's a million stories of maggots. Oh, now I'm losing my job. I regret my vote. I thought I was only going to hate on the trans people, and now my entire town is going to lose 1/3 of their jobs. Well, good luck. Good luck with that, especially after they've cut your lifelines. All those Democrat lifelines, right? The Democrat. All those Democrat Party people wanted you to have food and health care and living wages in an environment that wasn't filled with poison. Oh, the humanity. So, okay, the Trump Kennedy Center honors will be broadcast tonight. And this is when I was on the phone with Andre. I was like, this is not real, right? So I had to go and research. This is the time we're living in, where you think something, you're getting an alert. You're like, this can't be real. This can't be real life. This is the so-called effing president. The Trump Kennedy Center honor, F you. It's the Kennedy Center honors. Yet another thing then this is the problem, right? This lawless maladministration has no legal authority to change the name of the Kennedy Center. But they do it anyway, just like the Department of War. They have no legal right to do that. And they do it anyway. And then, of course, what happens? The corporate media falls in line. They start calling it the Department of War. It's not the Department of War. Why are you enabling the lawlessness? Right? This is why we have to re-regulate the media. So, he says the Kennedy, so-called Trump Kennedy Center honors will be broadcast tonight on CBS and stream on Paramount Plus. Tune in at 8. I mean, what? I'll watch the clips, but please, if there is a Christmas miracle, let him shit his pants, pee his pants, and keel over legally and peacefully in front of live TV. That would be a Christmas wish come true for so many decent Americans. In fact, the decent people of America want that. Forget, you could keep your pencils. Keep your 2 pencils and your 2 dolls. I don't need $37. I just need that. Oh my God. At the request of the board and just about everyone else in America, what a needy bitch, right? What a needy, desperate, thirsty bitch that is not deserve. It's like you are a succubus of attention that it will never fill that gaping black hole of that pit that you call a personality. Traitor Trump, you know it. That's why you're so desperate. That's why you're so hateful. That's why you hate America, because America it's trying to be decent. You know, in all our flaws and all our hypocrisies, which is all the Republicans have. That's all they have are the flaws and the hypocrisies. That's what they think makes America great. The hate, the hypocrisies. You know, instead of the all men are created equal, they want to cling to the slaves, you know, and to enslaving people. They don't see that we're aspiring to be decent, that we were left a progressive blueprint from which to build upon, that we shouldn't be going backwards into division and hate. That's what they're trying to say. They're trying to reboot America as a white authoritarian state, you know, white terrorism against everyone who's not white, everyone who's not straight acting and white. Let them eat hate. That is the Republican motto, really, for the rest of us. And shocking and sad is that how so many Americans fell for it. That's what's so upsetting, I think, to me in this time is, and it's what happened after the first election, when he was elected despite receiving fewer votes. And I, among others, went into this depression thinking about this country. And I know the maggots liked drinking my tears and all that. That's because they're sick people. They hate America. Hence, they drink the tears of their fellow Americans. I don't vote for Democrats because I want to drink Republican tears. I vote Democratic because with the Democratic Party, we have a better chance of making a more perfect union. Not that the Democrats are perfect by any means, my God. We're trying. We're at least trying. We're trying to leave no one behind, right? We're trying to educate the future, set ourselves up for success in the future by educating people, by ensuring that people don't have to needlessly die, that kids can eat. So, fuels their brains so they can learn and become productive members of society. But maggots don't think like that. I don't know what's wrong with them, but, as always, they want the benefits of civilization, but none of the responsibilities we have to each other. And they tear down everything that makes America great. But, so he says he's hosting this event, everyone in America. I don't know where he's getting his information from, because no one in America who has a clue and has any semblance of self-respect wants that baboon in front of their face for another second. For the love of God, leave us alone. Leave us alone for a minute. For the love of baby Jesus, in the middle of Christmas week, leave us alone. Can we get a minute without this monster? No, I guess not. Because he knows how unfit he is. He knows how this country is too decent for him. That's why he has to tear it down and make it as ugly and small and divisive as he is, as needy and greedy and vile as he is. A pedo hosting the Kennedy Center honors, and CBS is going to broadcast it. Absolutely disgusting. So, absolutely disgusting. Tune in at 8. And all these people, Kiss, George Strait, Sylvester Stallone, Gloria Gaynor, the greats in history. The greats? They should be ashamed. But, I don't expect much from Sylvester Stallone. Some of these people are maggots, of course. It's a shame, though. Kiss? Anything, that he has his name upon, that Traitor Trump has his name on, is sullied. It's not a merit. It's not, because this is the crowd that's like, oh, now we're a meritocracy again, except for the fact that they are the only qualification is loyalty. You could be a drunk who bankrupted 2 small veterans organizations, and they'll put you in charge of the largest bureaucracy on earth if you kiss that monster's balls enough. But this just proves that CBS are America-hating maggots, and we have to be aware of this. A lot of people are going to fall for it, but not the decent people. I hope that no one watches. What are you going to watch? What are you going to see? This fool? Right? That's the other thing. He interrupted the finale of Survivor. I don't watch that show, but he interrupted the finale of Survivor. People are trying to distract themselves from their problems for a minute and a half. And he interrupts Survivor to whine about how he's not getting his due. How much longer are we going to take it? Right? How much longer? It's incredible. So, and I just have to tell you what's most disgusting is that Trump is attacking the arts, as we know, just like they're attacking everything. All the institutions that make America great. One of the things that Traitor Trump has his sights on, just like the Nazis did, they went after trans people. So are the Republicans. The Nazis went after art. So are Republicans. But they're attacking the arts on multiple fronts, defunding and slashing funding for the arts. So, they think the arts are WWE. That's the arts to these monsters. Weaponizing, of course, patriotism, something they know nothing about. They hate America. Patriotism means leaving no one behind. Patriotism means we're capable of functioning in a multiracial liberal democracy. That's what the founders entrusted to us. Patriotism means we don't need no stinking kings. That's patriotism. We don't need a king. And if the maggots and if Traitor Trump and his cult of enablers understood that, they wouldn't allow him to put his name on everything. Because the fact that he does proves everything I'm saying right here. That they are confused by America. That they don't have any respect for America. That they don't understand, what it's supposed to be about. That we overthrew a king that needed, he even thinks that any criticism of him is treason. That's right out of the monarchs of Europe. Oh, God. He's pushed budgets now. The maggots, they have eliminated a national endowment for the arts and national endowment for the humanities. Have they been successful? Let me see. Have they killed this outright? Yeah. The budget eliminates the National Endowment for the Arts, the big ugly bill. And all the current grants were canceled. So don't tell me you like the arts. You're for the arts. Art. What's art to these people? It's anything that praises the dear leader. So for 2026, the Republicans zeroed out the budget for the National Endowment for the Arts and the National Endowment for the Humanities. Unbelievable, but very much so believable. House Republicans advanced a 35% cut from 207 million to 135 million, ripping tens of millions out of grants and community arts, for community libraries, for community humanities programs. So your small little town having your community theaters and whatnot. That was too much art. That was too much for maggots. They needed that money for a big ugly ballroom. They needed that money for whatever other whim the billionaires have in store for us. And I hope everyone understands that, we don't need no billionaires, just like we don't need no kings up in this bitch. It's unbelievable. You're right. And Ed on the chat says the regime's incompetence is the only reason fascism is moving slowly. Yeah, but they are doing a lot of damage. They've been successful in a lot of ways with the big ugly bill and Project 2025. So we have our work cut out for us. And I don't know. The Democrats, I'm of the mind that the Democrats have got to run on Project 2020, whatever. What's the next election? Not even the midterms. 2028. I can't count. I can't think. I can't count for the next president. We don't even have, see, this is what's the problem. We don't have a candidate to rally around at this point, and I wish we did. I know Gavin Newsom has his hat in the ring, and unfortunately, Newsom is not for a billionaire's tax. And I'm of the opinion, 2026. You say, thank you, Leslie. I can't think. What year is this? Where am I? So, but Newsom's of the opinion that we shouldn't have a billionaire's tax. which is disgraceful because we don't need billionaires. And I find that vile, that any Democrat, there should be agreement. Now, I know that the Democratic Party is not a monolith, but there should be certain things that we all agree on, like universal health care, universal higher education, living wages, like FDR's second Bill of Rights. That would be something that I think the Democratic Party should grab and run with yet again, because it breaks my heart whenever I think about the fact that FDR died his untimely death before he was able to enact our second Bill of Rights, which he would have done, which would have happened, which would have meant that we would be living in a much different country right now. We would have universal health care. We would have no homelessness in this country, because that was one of the rights, the right to a home, the right to a job, the right to health care. And there's no reason we can't have those things, because we're the richest country on earth. And the reason we don't have it is because the Republicans and the corporate Dems have given us these propaganda machines that churn out the division and make greed the only American value. I'm sick of that. I don't know about you, but I'm not only sick of it, we're all sick from it. Greed is the only American value at this point. Aren't we all tired of that? Right? I think we should be. Because, that's what it means to be a patriot, is to leave no one behind. Not that Traitor Trump knows anything about that, because he's never paid a tax. He's never, if he's paid taxes, it's been reluctantly. I know he's paid, he declared more losses than every other American taxpayer, and he's gotten a tax return in the millions because of it, declared close to $1 billion in losses. But, okay, I wanted to underneath this post here on Traitor Trump's tripe, where is it? Yeah, he wrote this. Financial news today was great. GDP up 4.2% as opposed to the predicted 2.5%. So I won't read the whole thing. We only have like 10 minutes left of the show. I can't believe how fast it goes. And in the future, in the new year, we'll have guests and all, because that's what Andre is going to work on. We're going to get some guests up in this bitch. That'll be nice. And then maybe we'll have a Tarabuster Thursdays. We have Tarabuster Fridays. I hope you like the show. Tell your friends. And tell me if you don't, if you don't like it. Tell me. Tell me why. I'm always open to suggestions. Just don't post it on the iTunes thing, okay? So, just post nice things there. Don't praise Genocide Joe or some bullshit like that. All right. Yeah. Where is it? The Republican Party is a safe place. While I'm looking this up, I'm just riffing. The Republican Party is a safe space for pedos. Yes, it is. Okay. Here's the lie. So when I saw that post, I was like, can this bitch ever tell the truth? And I'm talking about the needy bitch Traitor Trump. Not this bitch, that bitch. So GDP up 4.2% as opposed to the predicted 2.5%. That is false. Okay. Real GDP grew at a 4.2 annual rate in the second quarter of 2018. But, he says that, this is unheard of. Of course, that's not true. But mainstream forecasts, I'm reading this. Mainstream forecasts for this quarter are 4% and not 2.5%. So you see how he did that? He he, of course, exaggerated and lied. He can't say one thing without lying. He can't. He has to deceive constantly. Why? Why would you not just take the win there and say, okay, GDP grew. They thought it was going to be lower, but it grew at 4.2. Because saying that they all predicted 2.5% sounds so much more impressive, I guess, than just the regular old 4%. Right? They were expecting around 4%, not 2.5. So he can't even type a single sentence without it starting with a lie. You know, a noun, a verb, and a lie. That's the anatomy of a Trump sentence, of a Trump statement. And then he says, despite the downward pressure of the recent Democrat shutdown, which of course is misleading, the shutdown is not a Democrat shutdown, considering the fact that Traitor Trump has 3 branches of government. It's not a Democrat shutdown, and that's democratic. So we could go through this line by line. It's unbelievable that I think we should report whether, you know, he tells the truth. When you tell the truth, that would be more impressive, right? So, unreal. But not unexpected. There was another quote here. Where is it? He goes on and on about, I mean, it's just rambling. In the old days, when there was good news, the market went up. This is not true. This is not, you know, the market doesn't always rise on good news, and it's not because we have historical data to prove that. Nowadays, when there's good news, the market goes down because everyone thinks the interest rates will immediately lift. This is, of course, false. Stock rate correlations show that the relationship to this is, to good news, bad news, or whatever, is complex and changes. But, you know, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing anyway. That's the bottom line. He really doesn't. And I'm not saying I'm an economic genius, but I never purported to be. That's not my wheelhouse. I never had to pretend to be a great businessman. But I'll tell you this, I wouldn't bankrupt a casino or multiple casinos. I'll tell you this, if my daddy gave me $250 million, I wouldn't bankrupt it 5 times over. And in fact, as we know, if Traitor Trump had just put his trust fund into a stable money market fund, he would have made more money. But now that he has his rapacious, disgusting, greedy gullet around our federal treasury, he's made more money than he could ever imagine. Almost $2 billion richer, their filthy, disgusting crime family, in the last 8 months. But, you know, everything, it's an abomination. That's probably the appropriate word for what we're experiencing right now. Scrapping, you know, National Endowment for the Art awards for undeserving communities. This is what is going on while this bitch is going to host the Kennedy Center honors and puts his name on everything. He scrapped awards for so-called undeserving communities. What's that mean? I wonder what shade of pigment these undeserving communities are. He's imposed restrictions on grant money going to projects that even mention race or gender or anything that doesn't praise the dear leader. or the hierarchy that Republicans want us all to be, conform to. Because that's fascism in a nutshell, really. The beatings will continue until morale improves. And if you want to be free, you could just be free in the constraints that they have laid out for you. So, yeah, it's kind of disgusting that the Republican Party is now a safe space for pedos and abusers. And it's not just Trump. Okay, he is the con man to beat all con mans. He is the natural byproduct of the party. Eventually, they were going to get to a full-on con man, because they ran on a con. Their entire ideology is a con. There's no supply side economics. That doesn't make prosperity for all. No tax cuts don't pay for themselves. No deregulation isn't a impetus to growth. All of this is demonstrably true, right? We have the facts, but they don't they don't let go of a lie, because the point is not to make a prosperous country that works for all. The goal is to confuse and divide and distract while they concentrate wealth and power in the hands of a few and destroy pesky democracy once and for all. There's a long list. This is why Republicans won't let go of their pedo standard bearer, just like they didn't let go of their pedo Speaker of the House, Denny Hastert. Right? He went to prison for abuse, not for the abuse, but for structuring hush money payments to cover it up. I can't wait for the accountability. How about Roy Moore, the GOP's 2017 Alabama Senate candidate? Remember? Oh, he was another one. He was pursuing 14-year-olds when he was in his 30s, like Traitor Trump. Multiple Alabama Republicans at the time, remember, they said they would still vote for Moore, even if he had committed a sex crime, because, he's a Republican. And they don't care. They're not in it for altruism. They don't care. Raping and pillaging is a perk of the job. Donald Trump, of course, we know he's faced numerous sexual misconduct allegations over the decades, including being found liable for sexual abuse, even though the judge said it was not calling him a rapist is a technicality. Where is this? Oh, here's that. Before the show ends. Jeffrey Epstein's suicide note to another fellow pedo, that proves that Traitor Trump knows. He knew. I mean, they all knew. They all palled around together. Young, beautiful beauties walked by. He loved to grab, snatch, whereas we ended up snatching in the mess hall, snatching grub in the mess halls of the system. Life is unfair. Jesus Christ. Our president also shares our love of young, nubile girls, says Jeffrey Epstein, and who can dispute it? We know that Trump has no decency, dignity, or humanity. All right, my friends, listen. Remember, we will be back on Friday, even though it's the day after Christmas, but let us have a nice Christmas, all right? And I will see you on Tarabuster Tuesday. So we have Friday, 8:30 p.m. Thank you, Charlie, APS Radio News. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. today and every other day, please become a subscriber to my Substack. That will help me keep the show going and growing. I'm doing my work over at Substack. I don't think I'm not really any other place at this point, except on YouTube, and of course the Political Voices Network. But I'm not. Twitter's a cesspool and all that. And also, guys, remember to get your. It won't be able to come before Christmas, but at this point, but we have these amazing No Kings American flag lapel pins. All right, based on the Secret Service pin, because we don't need no stinking kings up in this bitch. All right, over at the Political Voices Network Substack. If you go to politicalvoicesnetwork.com, there's a link right at the top of the page to get your pin. I would say get it now. All right, my friends. And it's not for me. It's for Political Voices Network. And I think it would be a great day to see everyone wearing one of these. Just look on corporate media everywhere. Look at your local representative. Wouldn't that be great if they were all wearing a No Kings American flag lapel pin? Because let's take our country back from those who thoroughly want to destroy it and are confused by it, All right, my loves, I think you're great, so thank you. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for making this, making me want to get out of bed in the morning, because things are tough, I know. All right, my friends, I love you. Check out Charlie's APS Radio News. If you're looking for music for your holiday gathering, APS Radio has classic rock and oldies all day, and a classical music channel that you can just put on and let it run for your holiday memories. All right, my friend. And because Charlie's a great guy, and he helps Tarabuster, and he helps the Political Voices Network, and helps us keep everything, going, keeping the independent media going. All right, my loves. It's hard to say goodbye. So, I will just say, I will see you very soon. We're on the right side of decency. We're on the right side of dignity and democracy. We stick together. We win. My name is Tara Devlin. Thank you for hanging out. Merry Christmas. And I will see you very, very soon.